Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to today's session. Kindly confirm if you can hear me. If you can, just send a response in the chat box that you can hear me. All right. Thank you. Awesome. Awesome. That's good. So we're expecting more people to join us. So we're going to wait for a couple of minutes and then we start. This session is being recorded. So after this session, the recording will be made available for everyone so that if there are points you may have missed, you can, get those points. So let's wait for a couple of minutes and then we'll start. This is 3:04 my time. So say by 3:10 we'll start. So before we get started, I would like couple of people to introduce themselves, so I'll get to know people that are here on this call, while I'll also do same introducing myself, and then we get started into the agenda of the day. So right now we're about 10, so I think I'll just call on someone randomly. Just introduce yourself. If where you are is noisy and you can't, speak, you can use the chat box to just introduce yourself. Tell us your name, tell us how you got to hear about this session, and what is your goal, what you aim to get out of this session, right? So let's start with God's power. Yeah, let's start with God's power. Hello, God's power. You there?
Afternoon. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be in this call. So, as you all know from from the screen, you can see my name is Gospower Melary Oku, and for what I do, see that's the next thing, right? For what I do.
How did you get to hear about the session and what's
Okay.
your goal? Yeah.
Okay. How did I get to hear about this session? Okay, so I was scrolling through IG actually, and that is how I ran into the ad for this session. And I remember being someone that wants to learn more about DevOps, DevSecOps, and the rest. So that piqued my interest, and that's what led me to register for this class. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Awesome. It's nice to meet you, God's power.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So Victoria is introducing herself in the chat box. Let's say hi. So up next, I'll be calling on Rashid, Olabanjo Rashid. Kindly introduce yourself to us.
Hello, I'm coming,
Yes,
please.
we can hear you. Okay. All right. So let's move on. While we're waiting for him, let's check out Lani Pay 4018.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Olamide. I'm Olamide. So I got to know about this meeting on IG, yeah, when I was scrolling through IG. So I got to know about the meeting, and my main goal is because I plan to pursue a career in DevOps. So basically, that's why.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Awesome. And that's great. Okay. Thank you, Olamilekon. It's nice to meet you. I think we'll just ask for one more person and then think the rest of us can just introduce ourselves in the chat box just because of time. Um let's check out Isiaka Karimot. Hello. Hello, Isiaka, are you there? We can't.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Karimot. I got to hear about this session. Someone sent it to me because I spoke up in a group that I was struggling to set up like my work environment. I'm new to DevOps and I'm just learning about it. So the person sent me a DM and sent me the link to register. I just want to learn about, I'm just getting started, so I would like to learn more about DevOps. That's why I'm here. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Awesome. Then that's great. That's good to know. So thank you all for introducing yourselves. And it's nice to meet everyone here. And of course, okay, Victoria. Victoria says Karimot was the one that shared the session with her. So shout out to her. So thank you, Karimot, for sharing with a friend. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Okay. So now that we've introduced ourselves, let's move on to the next. So I'll be introducing myself to everyone here, and yeah, we'll get into it. So I'll just briefly introduce myself. So if you're checking the slideshow I shared, I've switched to the next screen so you can use that to follow along. So a bit about me. My name is Lois, and I'm a software engineer. I'm an infrastructure engineer. I'm a tech educator, and I'm also a founder. So that's like 4 things in one. Yes, software engineer. That was how I got into tech in the first place. So I have over 6 years experience in building softwares and systems. And on the side, I founded Code Vixens. So this call, we are having it in collaboration with Code Vixens, which is an initiative of mine. So I love teaching. I think that's where we got to the tech educator part. So I love teaching. I love sharing my knowledge. So when I see opportunities to share, I will try my best to share. And that's why I came up with this whole thing about, having this free online session, because I noticed that there are lots of people who are trying to get into the DevOps space, and the DevOps field is quite vast. So, putting this information out there, trying to help people, something that brings me, let's say, joy and pleasure. And also, I'm an infrastructure engineer. So my venture into infrastructure engineering came as a result of me being a software engineer. So being a software engineer, you can't just box yourself. At some point, you're going to have to grow and learn more things in order to upskill and go higher in your field. So in my course of upskilling and growing as a software engineer who is focused on back-end engineering, I got into infrastructure engineering, which is, kind of like DevOps, but I would explain that during the course of this call. So yeah. So I'm a software engineer, an infrastructure engineer, a tech educator, and also a founder of Code Vixens. If you'd like to learn more about me, there's a link I shared in the slide. So there's a link tree there that provides a bit of just compressed information about me. So you can use that to find out more about me if you so choose to. And yeah, so move on to the next, which is about Code Vixens. Just briefly talk about Code Vixens. Since Code Vixens is the initiative or the platform by which we're able to have this session this afternoon. So about Code Vixens, we are an educational organization that is dedicated to empowering people globally through affordable tech education. So our trainings are very, very affordable. There's anyone here who has been in our program before, you know that our programs are super, super affordable, and then we give value. That's a bit about Code Vixens. We've been here for like 5 years now. We started in 2020, and over the course of 5 years, we've been able to touch more than 7,000 people. We have covered over 16 courses over the years. So at some point, we did non-technical programs, technical programs, and altogether about 16, if not more than that. Yeah. So I think that's briefly about Code Vixens, and I'll get back to our educational program. So let's just get into the discussion of today because of time. So when you hear infrastructure engineering or DevOps, what comes to mind? I'm going to pass this question to the audience, and I would want people to respond. So I'll send this to the chat box here so that you can follow along. When you hear infrastructure engineering or DevOps, what comes to your mind? Who would like to give it a try? You can send it as a message, and if you'd like to, say something, you can raise your hand, then I'll call you. What comes to your mind? There's no right or wrong answer. I just want to hear what is in our mind. Anyone? Someone is typing. That's good. But anyone who would like to unmute their mic and say something? Okay, I think I will have to call somebody randomly. Okay, Power, thank you so much. So Power, please tell us when you hear infrastructure engineering or DevOps, what comes to your mind?
Okay, good evening again, everyone. So I think I'll focus on infrastructure engineering. So what that like plays in my mind is first I'll pick engineering. So it's basically designing, setting up, maintaining. So I'll say it's basically designing, setting up, and the maintenance of basically the foundation for most of our tech or IT based stuff. So let's say like your applications, so everything that is needed for the smooth running of your IT system. So it's that engineering of those infrastructure, that is, you are maintaining them, you are also setting them up, and the operation. So everything in general concerning that.
All right. Thank you for that, Power. And you said that you are actually looking to infrastructure engineering and not DevOps. Why? Why infrastructure engineering for you?
Oh, I didn't say I was looking into. I said what I wanted to talk about was infrastructure engineering.
Okay. All right then. That's fine. Okay. So let me look at the comments. Victoria says she's thinking servers. Olanke says backbone behind every working system. All right. So when we say infrastructure engineering, I'll move to the next slide. So when we say infrastructure engineering, here. I'm actually trying to locate the okay. I'm trying to locate the slides. I can't locate it. Okay, I've located it now. So when we say infrastructure engineering, we are talking about, like some of us have said, servers, network, storage, operating system, in the invisible work that makes everything else possible. So there is like an overlap. Yeah, there is an overlap actually with DevOps engineering and infrastructure engineering. But in as much as there is an overlap, they are still quite different. So DevOps initially was like the field. That was like what came out first. But inside DevOps, we now had other fields that came out of DevOps. So over the years, we've had some specialized roles that came out of DevOps, depending on what a company needs. So a company might need someone to handle their DevOps operations fully. A company might need someone who would manage the infrastructure. So that person is just involved with the infrastructure. And then they might need other people that will be involved in the reliability of their systems, but that's something else. So when we say infrastructure engineering, we are looking at the backbone, like building the backbone for which applications are going to run on. Yeah. So Olamiliko, you're very close. Yeah, backbone behind every working system. So there are different types of applications being deployed today. We have mobile apps, we have back-end applications, we have front-end applications, and even back-end, we have different frameworks and programming languages used to build back-end systems. So when it comes to building systems, we have variety of systems that somebody can build. So we're talking about setting up the infrastructure that these systems are going to run on, and doing that only, then you're looking at infrastructure engineering. So if you are someone who is going into DevOps, you're going to have to touch infrastructure engineering. If you're someone who is going into software engineering, let's say you're a software engineer, you're here on call, you're going to have to get into that infrastructure engineering. But then again, you can choose to just specialize. You can choose to, okay, I don't want to learn everything. I just want to specialize. It's very possible for you to just specialize and say you are just an infrastructure engineer. That is also that's also correct. You can actually do that. So you just preference. But infrastructure engineering, like I've explained in just layman terms, you're looking at the backbone by which your applications will run on. So the backbone in this case, we're talking about servers. So now you're setting up servers that the systems are going to run on. You're looking at networking, depending. So if you're working in an organization where their systems are not on the cloud, they have a physical location for their they have a physical location for their let's say servers and such. So part of your work as an infrastructure engineer will be to manage that as well, because you are in charge of the infrastructure, storage, operating systems, anything that has to do with the infrastructure of whatever app that you'll be working on that it needs to run. Then it's it. So if you are here, if you're not a beginner, if you're here and at some point you've touched this part in your DevOps journey, then you've also been doing infrastructure engineering. Yeah, you've also been doing. So in case you're actually job hunting and maybe you're searching for DevOps, you are not seeing, you can also search infrastructure engineering as well. Their companies are higher specifically for that. All right, then. I think that's enough talk. So I will just leave the floor open for a couple of questions and then we'll continue. So I need like 3 questions based on what we've said so far. Questions, please. Either in the chat box or raise your hand. Questions. Questions, or no questions. If there are no questions, let me know in the chat box, but I need responses. Okay, please, what is infrastructure engineering again? So who would like to explain what infrastructure engineering is to Josh Winters? I know I've explained just Joshua. Yeah. Who would like to explain it? How you understood it? Just explain it. Infrastructure engineering. Who would like to give it a go? Hello, Samuel. Someone is sharing a whiteboard. Who's that?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. Samuel.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, so Joshua is asking what is infrastructure engineering again. So can you help explain to him what infrastructure engineering is?
Well, according to your explanation, so you said infrastructure engineering is the backbone on which all servers and network is being run. I hope I've answered.
Exactly. Yes, you have. Thank you. That was very simple and straight to the point. Thank you. Is there anyone that would like to add to what Samuel just said? Anybody? Okay, someone is typing. Please, this is supposed to be an interactive session, so let's say something. Oh, I think we are shy. Maybe people here are shy. So let me just call okay, God's Power. Hello, God's Power. Can you add to what Samuel just said on infrastructure engineering?
Good evening again. So from what I heard and from what you thought, I'll summarize it as setting up of the requirement, like that backbone requirements for IT systems to function, whether they be apps or whatever you are setting up. So whatever you are building, and you also said as a software engineer, if you are like building an app, they are setting infrastructure, or they are setting the infrastructure which serves as the backbone, so they can compose servers, they can compose like the network components, the operating systems. So those are the backbones required for your app to run. So infrastructure engineering is just setting up that backbone, that infrastructure needed for most of these IT systems to work. So I think that's what I got.
All right, thank you so very much, and God's Power. So Joshua, does that explain what infrastructure engineering is to you? All right, then. Awesome. Then that's good. So now that we've looked at infrastructure engineering, next thing we should look at now is DevOps engineering. So I'm going to ask the next question. Who here has worked with servers before and who hasn't? If you've worked on servers, let me know. If you haven't, let me also know. So I'll send it here in the chat box so that we are aware of the question. You can respond in the chat box. Who here has worked with servers before? Who hasn't worked with servers before? Any responses? Everyone here, we're about 10. Who here has worked with servers before? Who has not worked with servers before? Okay. When I say work with servers, at some point, have you, let me not say touch a server because you're not touching it. It's not something, it's something on the cloud. Maybe something you've had to do something that had to go to a server. Maybe there's an app you had to take somewhere to a server, maybe a backend app, front end app, that kind of thing. Maybe using tools that are popular now, maybe AWS. If you've heard of AWS or Azure or Azure, just if you've just done anything server related. Victoria says she hasn't. Gospel says 50-50. Olamide says only for practice. Okay. Okay. All right, then it's fine. So if we haven't, it's fine. I just wanted to just know, yeah, if we have worked with it before or if we haven't worked with it before. All right. So just look at DevOps engineering, and then after that, I think we'll go into proper what we have on today's agenda. Let's continue. So yeah, so I was talking about DevOps, and Yeah, that we're looking at DevOps now since we've touched infrastructure engineering. DevOps actually initially in the very beginning, what brought about DevOps was there needed to be let's say some sort of bridge between developer and operations. Yes, 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 it will be provided. The call is being recorded, so it will be provided. All right, so DevOps was means to bridge developers and operations. So developers in that, the software engineer, you build the application, be it front end or back end. Then there is the other operational side of things that has to do with it, the application still being running English, making the application run. So it's different from is running on my system, because if you're having customers are not going to use the application on your system. They're going to have to use it somewhere public. Everybody's going to have to use it together. So the operational part of getting the application to that location, yeah, there needed to be like some sort of bridge between that, and that's how DevOps came about. So it's dev and operations. So you see that in the slides that I'm sharing at the moment. So we're looking at people, process, and tools. So people, in this case, we're looking at the developers, the process, and then the tools. What are the tools we are going to use to get this application over there for people to use it, and the process, around doing that. Yeah. So DevOps just came up as a means to yeah, create that bridge and make the whole process easier. Someone raised their hand. God's power. Please ask your question.
I'm very sorry for taking the class aback, but I kind of missed the beginning definition of like DevOps. If you could take that again.
Okay, so I was trying to explain that is DevOps is we are having two words combined together to form DevOps. Two words combined together. So we have dev and then we have ops. So ops is operations, dev, development. So in earlier times, there needed to be a way to bridge the development process and the operational um, uh, aspect of having an app ready or setting up an application for people to use it out there. So as a software engineer, you're building the application locally on your system, but you're not going to give your laptop for someone to use if they want to make use of your application. Yeah, sorry, I'm chatting with support at the moment. So you're not going to give them your laptop. So there has to be, will I say, a concept or a name that they're going to give to that process that's now continues the job after where the developer stopped. So the developer has built it, and then the next part is getting the application or system or software ready for end users to make use of. So if there are tools, if there are processes that you are going to need to do that, then DevOps is just what covers everything. In layman terms, that's it, without adding big grammars to it. And that's why DevOps is encompassing, because DevOps now is like everything after your building of the application to get it there. So anything that needs to be done, be it setting up the infrastructure, be it making sure that it's always up, that it doesn't go down, or maybe upgrading. What else can someone do? It is like encompassing, and it's very vast and it's very big. So that's what DevOps is um is about. And over the years, automation is part of what made DevOps is even break down into um into different fields. Automation, because now people are looking for how to automate things, to reduce time, development time or work time. So if something is taking you 30 minutes before, if there's something that can make it take 5 minutes, then of course make use of it. So automation came in to make things easier and faster, and that's why now you have to learn so many tools and so many services. Like in your DevOps journey, just because of these are tools that make your work as a DevOps engineer or an infrastructure engineer faster. So I hope that clears everything up. Okay, I'm guessing that did clear everything up. So yeah. So I would move on to the next thing we have for all right then. Awesome. Yeah. So in the flyer we sent out, one of the things we talked about that we said this call is going to have to tackle is can you give me a moment? Yes, one of the things we said that this call is going to have to tackle is we're going to look at how modern teams build and maintain infrastructure at scale, practical steps to grow or start a career in DevOps, tips and tools for working in both small startups and large organizations. So let's get into that part now, and then yeah, Q&As and all of that. Sorry, I'm a bit disoriented. I'm trying to sort out an issue with them. I'm chatting with support and I'm having this call at the same time. So my attention is sort of divided. Okay. All right. So the next part which we are looking at now is how modern teams build and maintain infrastructure at scale. So is there anyone here who has okay? Let me see. I know a couple of people that introduced themselves said they're just starting out in the field of DevOps. But is there anyone here who is not starting out? I think I have a question for the person. Is there anyone here who is not starting out? Anybody? Okay. So I guess we are all starting out then. Okay. All right. So so I think I'll skip that question first and then go to practical steps to start or grow a career in DevOps. And then we'll take the other questions from there. So practical steps to start or grow a career in DevOps. I would like to pass this to the audience. Let me see what we all are thinking when it comes to DevOps, because during the application form, like when applying, we left a field for if you have questions. And lots of questions that we saw people asking was, is DevOps dying? And I was wondering why would somebody ask if DevOps is dying or what things to die? DevOps is DevOps dying? So yeah, so I think I'll just ask randomly. Let me start with okay, Theophilus. Hello, Theophilus. Can you tell us in your own mind, in your own words, if someone asks you how can you grow your career in DevOps, what would you say? Because I feel like we all have a plan. That's why we came to this session. If not, we won't be here. So in as much as we can say that we are starting out and we are beginners, we have a plan. I just want to hear what it is. So Theophilus, hello, can you unmute your mic and respond? Yeah, hey, I hear you.
Okay. So the question again was the career path, right?
I said that again. The audio is quite bad. Hello.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, better.
Okay, so the question is, what is the career plan in DevOps, right?
Okay, I think the first and basic thing is to learn the skill, which is the DevOps skill. And then after that, you go for internship, for the opportunity for internship, and then you grow your experience from there. And then when you get an opportunity to, be able to put your skills and experience to a workplace, then you can, offer that. I'm not sure the direction of the question, but I think,
Okay. So for you, you feel it's internships, you use internships, build your experience, and you take it from there.
well, I think that's the place to start from. Sometimes if you do some organizations offer unpaid internships, and then you could just start from there and then grow it. But while learning, you have to work on projects, so that you can put that in your GitHub and showcase that also to potential employers of labor.
Okay, so building your portfolio also counts too. All right.
Yeah, yes. Learn
Okay,
from
okay.
learning,
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you so much, Theophilus. Let me see who would like to go next. Okay, let me call on Victoria is in transit. So Karimot, hello Karimot, are you still here on call? Would you like to tell us if someone asks you how to grow a career in DevOps? What would you say? Hello, Karimot, are you there? Okay, so let's move on. Olabanjo Rashid, can you tell us if you're asked how to grow a career in DevOps, what would you say as your answer?
Okay. So like before I was kindly busy, so now I'm with you right now. So as a DevOps engineering, like someone pursuing about DevOps, like it's like building a project and contribute to source code and, continue learning, as a tech. Every time tools, a lot of different tools comes out. So just even though someone gets higher to a job, you need to continue learning and look some resources, how this thing is being changed, so what you can gain. So I think that is what I can say for now. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Being here. It looks really technical to me at this point. Okay. All right. So so let's talk about growing a career in DevOps. I'll say first off, learn the fundamentals. Like fundamentals is super important. Right now we have what's called information overload. People are trying to learn a lot, and sometimes people pack and learn too much things. Like you learn more than what you're supposed to learn. You even learn what you're not supposed to learn at the end of the day. So you're supposed to have a plan. What are the things you want to learn? And a good starting point is looking at jobs. So you look at jobs. Um, First of all, you look at entry level. Don't go and look at senior DevOps engineer and use that to say that's what you want to use to start learning, because it can get very overwhelming, especially when you're starting out. So what I actually recommend to people who are trying to get into the field of DevOps engineering is to look at jobs openings, companies who are requesting for entry level. I'm saying entry level or junior. Look at what they are requesting for in their responsibilities. I'm going to share some here in the chat box so that we look at it together. So look at what they are requesting for. And when you look at what they are requesting for, look at how what you are learning, you can learn things that is going to align you with that job requirement. Because at the end of the day, you're going to want to be job ready. So you want to convert what it is that you've learned into skills that can fetch you money. It makes no sense learning what will not be used by the industry. So start small. Is what I always tell people. Start small. look at the fundamentals. What are the fundamentals of DevOps? Lots of people go into learning a new field or go into a new field without learning the fundamentals, and it becomes a problem later on because they have to go back to learn the the fundamentals. Yeah. So for that is just one. So learn the fundamentals, and the second one is have a plan of what it is you want to learn. So by having a plan, that means is either you it is either you enroll yourself in a program that's going to teach you what it is that you want to know, or if you're good at learning by yourself, you learn by yourself. There's some people that learn better by themselves. So, but you need to have a plan at the end of the day. So even if you're going to be working with a program or you're going to learn on your own, you need to have a plan of things that you want to learn and see if the program is going to teach what it is that you want to learn. So you don't end up burning money, because there are stories of people who they end up paying lots of money to learn DevOps engineering, and then what they learn, they're not even able to use it. They're not even able to practice with it, and they ended up burning money. So good thing about lots of training program is they give a curriculum or they give an agenda. They let you know the things that you're going to learn over the course of this period of time. So you use that and to know if you're actually going to get value at the end of the day. And if you want to learn by yourself, it's also fine. There are courses you can enroll in. There's YouTube. There are other online training programs online where it's self-paced. If you're a very busy person and you won't be able to sit in for maybe daily classes, you can do that as well. And then while you're doing that, you make sure that you're building a portfolio. Like someone said here on the call, you need to build something, because at the end of the day, when you want to speak with recruiters to show them that you're this person for this job, you're going to have to show them something. So as you're learning, make sure you're always building, and whatever you're building is out there. So don't hide it. Put it out there. Even if you're not someone that posts on Twitter. I'm not saying post on Twitter, but put it out there on your profile, your GitHub profile. That's your tech. That's like your tech social media profile or what have you, because that's what you put in your resume. So make sure that you are building as you are learning, so that you don't forget. So you have that something that you've built, that you've built. For now, let me just pause here, and I'll need someone to just relay all what I've said. Then I'll continue on how to grow a career in DevOps. So who'd like to relay everything I've said so far on how to grow a career in DevOps, step by step? The first thing you need to do, second thing you need to do, third thing you need to do. Someone joining as guest. Hello, guests. Hello. Are you there? All right. Since guest is not here. Hello, bye-bye. Okay. Can anyone hear me? Seems we are all quiet. Okay. All right. So let me call on. Okay, Olamileko. Okay. Hello, Leko. Can you tell us if you're asked, like based on what I've said so far, things you're able to
Yeah.
do? Mm-hmm.
Okay. Based on what you said so far, you said
Mm-hmm.
in planning a career in DevOps, you need the fundamentals. And fundamentals is one of the most important of it all. So you need to know what you want, and you also advise that you can also check entry jobs. Yeah, you can check entry jobs. We shouldn't go to the senior devs rules and be looking, okay, what is needed. We should start from all these entry jobs. Check what is required for them, what tools are necessary, and we should work with that. And also, you also said there are two modes in which one can learn, either by joining a program or learn by yourself, depending on how it suits you best. Yeah, so depending on how you suit you best and you work with it that if and most programs also offer curriculum to work with. So you have to be very watchful in order not to burn your money and in order to know that yes, this is right for you. So basically that's what I heard at the moment.
All right then. All right, thank you so much. You like explained everything so well. Thank you so much, Olamilenko. Okay, so yeah, so those are like the things you're going to need starting out to like grow your career in the field of DevOps engineering. Then, when you now get to that point, you can now choose to maybe specialize in a particular field because some people like to specialize at the end of the day. So depending on what part of DevOps appeals to you, then you can now choose, okay, I want to be an infrastructure engineer. Okay, I want to be a site reliability engineer, or I just want to be a DevOps engineer. So you can now choose. There are different, there's cloud engineering. So do you want to be a cloud engineer? There's also platform engineering too. There's also a field that came out, is hot cake too in in the United States. Um, so you now choose which one you want to learn. For some fields, I'll tell you follow the money. But DevOps is a field that regardless of what you choose, there is money inside. Companies can't afford to not have a DevOps person. Even if they may not have somebody designated as a DevOps person, they are going to have a software engineer or software engineers who know DevOps and they are the ones doing DevOps. As long as you have a product that you're going to put out there for people to use, you are going to need a DevOps engineer. So this brings me to one of the questions that someone asked: if DevOps is really dying. DevOps is not dying. If anyone tells you that, maybe on TikTok or YouTube, is a lie. DevOps is not dying. There are fields that are coming out of DevOps, true, but doesn't mean that DevOps is dying. It's a field that is super, super relevant. Super, super relevant. If you're someone that is a software engineer, you need to know about that. Super relevant. I know of somebody who is a database administrator and he just thought, I'll just learn database administration and be fine. But now the person is trying to learn cloud engineering because part of what he's doing part of what he's doing as a database administrator deals with the cloud. So he now has to go and learn cloud engineering. And you're going into cloud engineering, you're also looking at DevOps too as well. So yeah. So for now, that's like the key things you're going to need. So create a roadmap. And everyone needs motivation. So you need to motivate yourself. Like super important. Someone can say they want to learn DevOps now, and 3 months, 6 months from now, they are still learning DevOps. I'm not saying learning stops, but if you ask them 6 months from now, there's nothing that has changed. So you need to motivate yourself. So find that thing that's going to motivate you. I don't know if there are Lapo and Nepo babies here, but look for whatever is going to motivate you and use that to motivate yourself. For some people, it's growth. For some people, it's growth. Growing in their career is their motivation. For some people, it's money. Getting a better job, getting a better pay. For some people, it's opportunities. Using that job to get opportunities to maybe leave the country or have a better life. But you need to get your motivation, like something to motivate you so that you can continue, because it's not exactly going to be an easy road. Because I won't lie, there are things you are going to have to learn. Yeah, the things you are going to have to learn in the field as a DevOps. Either you are choosing DevOps engineering or infrastructure engineering. But somebody asks me, Lois, what part of DevOps do you like? I would say it's infrastructure engineering. I love infrastructure engineering. It's my love. It's something that I love doing. I love setting up that infrastructure. So it just gives me joy. So that's what I love doing. So what I love doing may not be what you love doing. So yeah. So you can choose to pick a niche and stick to it, or you can choose to just learn everything. So yeah. So I'll open the floor now and I'll ask people questions. So of all the things we've pointed out as ways you can grow your career in DevOps, what is the one thing that stood out for you? This one, everybody is going to have to respond. So even if you're in transit or you're in a noisy place, you have to chat. send a message or mute your mic. So which of the ways to grow a career in tech in DevOps stood out for you? The fundamentals. Okay, Karimot, that stood out for her. Thank you, Karimot. We still have 10 more people, 9 more people to respond. So, who will respond next? Everybody has to respond. Staying motivated, God's power. Thank you. Staying motivated. I need more responses, people. There's Rashid, there's Theophilus, there's Samuel, Victoria, there's guests, there's Lol. What Karim said. Okay, so the young Karim are 5 and 6. Bye. We need a response from me as well. Stay motivated and opportunities. Okay. All right. Who else hasn't responded? Samuel, you haven't responded. We need your response. Theophilus, you haven't responded. Rashid, you haven't responded. Victoria has responded. Need more responses, please. No other person. What's going on? Okay. All right. So since we are talking about, I think we had people that talked about being motivated. So Gospel, let me ask, what is your motivation? What's the one thing that will motivate you to continue? Then after that, I'll ask Olamileko.
Okay, in terms of motivation, as I think for me personally, there are a couple of things. It's not just one thing that will motivate me. So I think for everybody, money is an obvious motivation. Yeah, because then there's also like security in the sense that it's something that will still be in high demand after a couple of years. And so you won't have that anxiety in finding jobs in the future. And that is not something that is going to fade out. That's another motivation. Then also for myself, it will also be a way to measure growth. So if I am constantly upskilling and adding more, and DevOps, which is obviously regarded quite technical, if it's something under my belt here, I'll be able to look back and be like, okay, I have grown to some extent. So that's another motivating part of having to learn DevOps. So I think that's it for me.
Okay. All right. Thank you, God's power. Olamileko, you said motivation. What is that which is motivating you?
Upon motivation, I think gospel you said one. You said two actually. Money and security. And also how would I put it? I don't know how to put it. Will I say I don't want to use the word pride or like knowing that you have something valuable to offer, that kind of thing. Let me put something like that. So like when you know that this thing that I'm doing, I need to do it. So at least I know that I can speak for myself later on that I went through this. I had to go on to get this such thing like that. So I'll just use the word pride for the moment. I don't know if you understand me.
Mm-hmm. I get you. Okay. God's power wants to say something. Add something.
So I forgot to I think the main target at the end of the day is
some being able to like my main motivation was actually trying to get something remote. Yeah, so like in the long run where I won't have when you get to a level of expertise where you don't have to be at, let's say, at work, like physically. You don't have to be coming over to work, and you can just from wherever you are just do what you have to do. So yeah, that's another and one of the major motivations also.
Okay. All right then. Thank you. So now we are going to consider a job. So this is a junior DevOps engineer role. I just got this one, so I'll share it here so we can check it together. So we're looking at the technical skills that is expected, just so that when you're creating your roadmap, you can use this to to know what is it that you want to learn, and you can also use this to also know if what you are learning is actually what is needed. Also, after this call, I'll be setting up a roadmap. So in addition to the recording, I'll be sending that across as well. So if anyone is interested, you can check out the roadmap that I will be sharing. So one thing I also missed out, like when you're learning the fundamentals, another thing you need to also know is you need to learn a programming language. Yeah. If you're going to be looking at DevOps fully, you are going to have to know a programming language, but not just any programming language. You can't just wake up and pick anyone. You're not going to have to learn a programming language that DevOps engineers use. But it shouldn't scare you. You're not learning programming languages like how a software engineer is going to learn a programming language. You are learning just the bits that you know that you use to do your job. That's just it. So if a software engineer is learning 100% of a programming language, you don't need to learn 100%. 40%, 50, maybe too much. Just learn so that when you see the code, you can be able to understand, okay, this is what this is doing. But there's AI now, so as long as you understand, it's fine. I won't lie. So you need to learn a programming language. So you see, one of the technical skills is you say familiarity with programming languages like PHP and Python. Please remove the PHP that they asked here. In my experience, Python is the one programming language that if you're looking for DevOps engineers, they ask, it can be an added bonus. So if maybe you have like 10 DevOps engineers applying for a job, and then they want to choose you that knows Python, can give you an edge. So Python is actually something you should look into subsequently if you're really considering DevOps full time. Then infrastructure automation tools, just a couple of things. Git, yeah. So you need to know how to use Git. That's very important. That's version control. Basic knowledge of Linux operating systems, and so just look at that at the things that they are requesting that someone needs to know. And you see, they're asking basic. So they're not asking for you to know everything. So don't use this to scare yourself into believing that you need to learn everything. Basic is what you need as a junior DevOps person. Basic knowledge, build your portfolio, and then practice. And when you get a job, you do what you have to do and also learn on the job too, as well. So now this is another one for infrastructure engineer. So like I said, infrastructure engineer is a role. So this is infrastructure engineering, and look at what they are saying. The responsibilities, as you can notice, is have you seen that there is like a very big difference between for DevOps and for infrastructure engineering? So if you notice, you see what the person is concerned about, what they want is someone that understands the architecture. So you need to understand architecture of servers, the backbone of the system that those apps will run on. You need to fully understand the infrastructure. So for this company, they are using AWS, could be Azure or Google Cloud, but you need to have good knowledge of cloud architecture, on-prem architecture. So, I mean, This is assuming that this company, they have physical systems, physical servers in their offices, and then they will need the infrastructure engineer to be in charge of engineering that. Then automation, scripting, what else again? Yeah, as you can see, there are like quite a lot here for an infrastructure engineer to learn and do. Let me send the link to this job for infrastructure engineer. This is it. Yeah. Infrastructure engineering. So for infrastructure engineering, I would say companies that usually hire infrastructure engineers are companies that are already established. They are not startups. In my experience, they are not startups anymore. Just startups, you can have just DevOps engineers. For a company to go fully, they want someone that will manage just their infrastructure. They are not startups, they're already established. They already have traffic, lots of users. They have huge infrastructure that they want to make sure that is always up, fast. They are big on security. That's why you're seeing security and compliance here too. So in my own experience, companies that are hiring for infrastructure engineers are not companies that are just what's the word, starting out. So yeah, so you can use that when you want to target your let's say your audience or your market when you're trying to apply for a job, or if you're looking at infrastructure engineering, who am I targeting? If you're looking at DevOps, who am I targeting? That sort of thing. Okay, so the next question I have to ask everybody now is, between DevOps engineering and infrastructure engineering, which one will you be going for? Which one will you be going for? So you can drop your response in the chat box. Which will you be going for? Will you DevOps engineering, infrastructure engineering, which one? Or both? Because I know there are some people here that like money. So or both, which one? DevOps. Okay. DevOps. DevOps. So nobody is it for infrastructure. I feel sad already. Why? No, no one is looking at infrastructure. She said DevOps too. Okay, what's going on, people? Nobody for infrastructure. DevOps first, then infrastructure. I think this Theophilus likes money. Oh. He said DevOps first, then infrastructure. Okay, all right. Because I have one person for infrastructure engineering, so that's fine. Who else again? Okay. Interest. Okay. True. At times, what you venture in is not what you end up doing at the end of the day. So for me, I started out as a software engineer before I now got into infrastructure. And now I love infrastructure engineering a lot. Maybe even more than software engineering. So that also works too. Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Yes, it is. It is related to systems engineering. Yes, it is related to systems engineering. Now, systems engineering is also another field I like. I personally just like anything that has to do with building. As long as it has to do with building, especially when something is complicated. Systems engineering is, I don't want to say it's I don't want to say it's an old name for it, because there are still jobs that you say that they're looking for systems engineers, but systems engineering is more related to infrastructure engineering than DevOps engineering. I mean, right now in the scheme of things, yeah, it is related to it, to the systems engineering too. So at the end of the day, you can choose to branch out. Which one do you want to focus on? And focus on that. Okay. All right. I think that's that on career. The next part I want us to look at is questions. I know we have lots of questions, and there are some people that had some questions. So I'll just be looking at some questions that people asked during the course of applying for the program. Yeah, for the session, I mean. So we've looked at how does one get started. We've touched on how to get started in the field of infrastructure engineering or DevOps engineering. Another person asked, is it possible to learn DevOps free, not paying for any learning resources aside teaching? Is it okay? So, is it possible to learn DevOps for free? If you are going to learn on your own, it's possible to learn for free. Very possible. Self-taught. So the knowledge I have on infrastructure engineering and software engineering, I learned them all on my own. I didn't have to enroll in any bootcamp whatsoever. So it's possible. It is possible. Yeah, it's possible if you're not learning, if you're learning on your own. If you're going to have to be learning under an organization, you're going to have to pay them. It's possible. It's not like it's not possible. It's possible to learn DevOps for free. It is possible. And if there's anyone that has any other questions that was not highlighted in the mail, yes, this is just a one-off session. I will get to some other resources that can help us. But for now, this is just a one-off session. Yeah. Okay. So if anyone has questions, please write your questions in the chat box. So as I'm reading this one, I would also answer your questions here. For me, it was YouTube. Yeah, it was YouTube. And yeah, for me, it was YouTube. I learn faster when I watch videos than when I read. I read when I don't have a choice. Like, as if I hit a bug, that's when I know that I have to read. So some people learn faster or learn better when they have books. So for me, it was YouTube videos. And what helped me was knowing what I wanted to learn. That's it. I wasn't just going about learning everything. No, that's not how it worked for me. I knew what it is I wanted to learn. And good thing I was coming from software engineering. So I knew how I wanted to tailor my entry or transition into the field of DevOps engineering. So having a plan is very important. Very, very important. How long does it take to learn DevOps to be job ready? It depends. I can give you a time, but that time may work for you, may not work for you, because how we learn is different. It may take me 3 months to learn something, it may take you 1 month to learn it. So, but if you are looking to learn DevOps, let's say you don't have any knowledge at all in DevOps, and you are looking to become entry level or a junior DevOps engineer, I won't lie to you, 3 months is not going to cut it. 1 month is not going to cut it. And even if you choose to learn on your own or go to a boot camp, even after you go to that boot camp, you still have to practice so that you don't forget. So there's the practicing part. So let's say you spend 3 months learning, heavily learning. 3 months, if I say 3 months to learn, it means back-to-back learning. Then you still use 3 months again to practice, give or take. If you're like seriously motivated, though, the motivation is hot, you should give yourself like a year. That is a year of learning and building. 1 month won't cut it. So you have to learn first, then build, and then build again and learn again before you now apply for jobs. That's honest reality. And then, is Linux really necessary for DevOps? Yes, it is. Oh, it is. If you don't know Linux, don't bother. If you do not know Linux, do not bother at all. You need to know Linux. You need to even love it. You need to know Linux at the back of your palm. You need to understand commands. You need to be able to speak Linux. Linux is super important. There is no job ad you are going to see for DevOps engineering that you are not going to be that you won't see Linux systems, because most of the systems or servers that actually host these applications that you're going to be deploying or maintaining on the server, they use Linux as their operating system. So if they use Linux, you need to understand how to use Linux for you to use it. If not, why bother? So Linux is very important. As much as I said learn a programming language, you need to even learn Linux first. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying go and install Linux on your laptop. Learn Linux commands. Now, laptops are so cool now that you don't need to go and install Linux on your machine. You can run Linux command directly from your Windows or your Mac. So, yeah. Please keep the questions coming. More questions. Next, we have DevSecOps. Now, DevSecOps is a hot field too. DevSecOps is adding security to it. So now you are doing DevOps, but you're focused on the security aspect. Now that one is hot cake. And when I say hot cake, it's hot cake. But the only limitation to that field is location. Because I won't lie to you, being in Nigeria here and applying for roles like DevSecOps is going to be very hard for you to get it, except you know the person, you know the founder or something that can really vouch for you, because it's a high level job. You're dealing with security. So most times you're going to need people who are on site, who are there. Maybe if they're in the US or somebody in the US, if they're in the UK, someone in the UK, for security reasons. But DevSecOps is a field under DevOps engineering. Let me quickly get a DevSecOps job and share. We'll look at it together, and yeah. DevSecOps. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, so this is one. Let me share this job here. This is one, and as you can see, they're big on security. Sharing. Yeah, so look at this role. I'm sharing my screen so you can follow along as I'm sharing. You see here that one of the things they're asking for is proficiency in, let me zoom in, proficiency in security automation tools. So again, they're big on security. See, threat intelligence platforms, focus on security and compliance. So for, if you're looking at DevSecOps, what you're focusing on is the security and compliance aspect. That's what you'll be focusing on. You see so many things here, but like is mentioned, the focus is on security. I hope that answers your question. The next one is, mind sharing the YouTube resources. I won't say I have YouTube special YouTube resources that helped me. I just go and search, but then I had some content creators, some YouTube video creators that I know that they always give value. So if I'm scrolling through a list of videos that touches on a particular topic I want to learn, then I make sure that I check out those people. Yeah, check out those people. And apart from watching videos, I also learn by doing. So I learn by breaking and fixing and doing. So I learn a lot by doing. That's the best way for something to stick to me. So after watching videos, after maybe reading a documentation, I make sure I practice. So if I'm talking about practicing and learning, I'll say 70% goes for me practicing, like breaking things, learning while building. then 30% is now video. Yeah. Do I need to have basic knowledge of cloud computing? Yes. Because DevOps is like hugely cloud related. So you need to understand cloud and how cloud works. The world has moved away from physical infrastructures, physical servers. Everything is online. So you need to have a good knowledge of cloud computing. Yes, you need to. Then another question is, whilst learning DevOps, are there side jobs you can do? Yeah, there are side jobs you can do, but they are going to be mostly internships, either internships or volunteer positions, or you can do something for yourself. So internships is like the best way to go. Internships, but the thing is, you may not be paid. There's internships, volunteer roles, or people can just come together and just say they want to build something. You can do that too as well. So any other questions? Okay, someone asked, is AI a threat to job opportunities or security in DevOps? No, AI is not. AI is going to help, but AI is definitely not. There's a limit to what. Okay, now look at DevSecOps, for example. There's a limit to what you can allow AI do to your system. I mean, let's be realistic. AI is good, AI helps, but even the best systems, AI, they make mistakes. They even add a caveat there at the bottom of some of these AI tools that they make mistakes. That at times it may not be accurate. You need to go and make your further research. So there's limit to what you can allow AI do to your system. So AI cannot completely obliterate DevOps. It can help. It does help. If you're a DevOps engineer, using AI will 10 times your productivity, like improve your productivity and make you a better DevOps engineer, that kind of thing. But it will not. It's not a threat to job opportunities. It's not at all. And yeah, since someone is typing, practice is if you learn DevOps today, if you learn DevOps now, it's 3 months, 6 months from now, if you don't practice, your knowledge is like useless. Because in your resume, you're going to have to put what you've done. And when you get a job, you're going to have to work. So practice, by practicing, I mean building. So say, for example, one of the things you learned is how to deploy to a server. Then practice how to deploy to servers. Practice how to deploy different types of applications, different type of backend applications, different type of front-end applications, so that any company you meet, depending on the framework you're using, you are able to work there. So that's an example of practicing. If you learned about security, how to secure a server, then practice. Get a test server. Good thing is that there are lots of cloud platforms that give you cheap cloud cloud services. Yeah. There are some that even give you free trial and free credit. So you can use that free trial of 1 month, 2 months, or free credit to practice and build your server and break it, push it to production, all those things. So what you are learning, if you learn security today, practice it, like really, really practice, break it. If you learn about CI/CD, practice too. But not just on your local laptop, practice on a system. So even if you don't have the opportunity to work in a company yet, you can use all these cloud service providers that will give you free credits to build something and then break it. Like I said, break and build and make it better. I hope that answers your question. Is there any other question I've not answered? Okay. All right then. So this is going to take me to the next part so that we quickly round up, which is Yeah. So if there's anyone here who wants to learn in a group, you like learning with people, or you like mentor-led training, you have someone that teaches you and trains you. We have upcoming programs at Code Vixens that would help. One of the programs we have, if you check our website, is 20 days challenge. 20 days challenge. So 20 days challenge is something we do every year, we do once a year. That's towards the end of the year as a means of wrapping up the year. So we choose a a course that we feel that people really want to are looking at, like that is the rave, and then we have a challenge around it. So for 20 days you'll be given, each day you'll be given things to do, things to build. So this is one way you can build your portfolio as someone who is looking to get into DevOps. And we are starting that very soon. We're putting out word for this challenge starting next week. So if you're interested, you should register for that challenge. So it's not going to be just you. We're going to be having hundreds of people. And we have our challenges. We used to have about 200, 250 people, in the challenge. So it makes it fun and interesting working with people. I also get to network and meet other people too who are in your field, who can also serve as a source of motivation for you too. We have that coming up soon, 20 days. And so every day you'll be given something to build, something to do, DevOps related. So even if you are learning, you can learn and still practice and do something on that day and submit like that. But something interesting and challenging. We have that coming up. We also have a workshop coming up soon, Docker. If there's anyone here who has delved into Docker before, you can check out our upcoming 5-day advanced workshop. And then we have another workshop coming up soon on database design. So if you're looking at database design, you should check out our upcoming workshop, database design for software engineering. So yeah, this that I am sharing, I hope we all are checking this out. I'm showing this on the slide. I don't know if anyone following along. So yes, there will be a group for it, but the group hasn't been created yet. The group will be created when it's about time for the program to start. So after people apply, then we start adding them to the group for it. Yeah. But if you'd like to be notified, we can just note your information down and notify you when the challenge is about to start. Alternatively, you can keep tabs with us on social media, because when you want to roll out a new program, we always post it so that you'll be among the first to know. So whichever one works for you, either follow us on social media or let us know. We'll notify you via mail or our newsletter that we have an upcoming program that if you're interested. So yeah, Code Vixens on IG. Then if it's Twitter, it's just Code Vixens. Then for me, it is, you know what? Let me just send you our link tree instead. I think that's better. So this is Code Vixen's link tree. And this is my link tree. For anyone who'd like to reach out. Yeah. Okay. I think my mouth is aching already. So 2 hours is quite a lot. So just to wrap it up, does anyone have any questions, anything to add or say, but possibly anything that wasn't touched that you feel like we should have touched during the course of this call? Please let us know. Let me know. This is just the time for us to wrap up everything.
Hi.
Hi, Karimot.
Thank you so much for the session. I wanted to know if someone does not have like a coding background initially, do you think one can still be able to like grasp the DevOps knowledge and the learnings, the materials and resources?
Yes, sure, definitely. Definitely. Yes. DevOps is not all coding, or it's software engineering that is all coding. It's just a little part of DevOps when necessary that you have to code. And it's not exactly like you're coding, you are just typing set of instructions for the server to understand. That's it. So you don't need to come from a coding background. You do not need to. At the end of the day, yeah, if you're starting out with DevOps, it's mostly about knowing how to use tools and services. Because most of these services already have dashboards, panels, just for you to learn how to use those panels to configure your server. Then if there's not anything that that panel cannot work for, that's where you now have to now start creating those sets of instructions on your laptop. But for starters, you don't need that. So that should not scare you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. How often with this session? So this session is just one time. Yeah, this is just one time. It's just one time. So we will be having subsequent sessions, but it may not be like this. It may be more technical because this is just like Q&A, explaining things, answering people's questions and trying to guide. That's just what this is. And this is just something I wanted to do personally because I felt it was a need. But subsequent ones will be handling our code fixings will be more technical. So maybe we have a training program on DevOps, then you're learning, or we have a work ready program where you're going to grow your portfolio. Yeah. And for those of you who are looking to like grow, you should check out our work ready program. It's specifically designed to help you grow because at the end of the day you learn, you need to grow and build a portfolio so that companies can like see that you are the person for the job. So our work ready program does that. It gets you work ready. Yeah. So by simulating how a work environment does things you do day to day. So it's good if you've learned already. So you've learned already and now you just want to practice. That's when the work ready program is for. We have coming up soon, like this year we are gearing up for like this month. We have lots of updates that are going to be dropping starting next week. We have one program we are rolling out next week. That's the 20 days challenge. We have workshops rolling out too. So this month we have let's say cohorts rolling out. So yeah, notify you. So just do well to just keep in touch with us, either via social media or our newsletter. For those of us who applied, we'll make sure to add you to the newsletter. I think there are some that did not when they filled the form they said no. So if you said no, we won't be sending that to them. So yeah. Mm, what's the next step you'd advise someone to take after learning Linux and Git? Uh so you've learned Linux and you've learned Git. Next thing you should look at is trying to deploy applications. So try to deploy a simple backend application to a server and see if you can use your knowledge of Linux to deploy it. Knowledge of Linux and Git. So this is now application. So applying Linux and Git to try to deploy a DevOps application. I'm sorry, an application to a server. Okay, so we are getting to the end of this session, and I hope this session was very informative as well as educative. Karimot asked a question and I responded, but I need the rest of us to say something. Um, uh, maybe questions, maybe negatives. I hope there are no negatives. Maybe something that wasn't touched, suggestions or anything. I just want people to just say something. Yeah, so I will just use that as to round up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. I think based on the question Karima asked, someone that doesn't have a coding background, I I want to also emphasize on that based on the fact that you keep saying deploying backend applications or deploying software. So I want to be like, does the person have to like, will I say code or do some coding, or how will the person get the application in order for them to deploy it? Yeah. So let me put it like that. Maybe a demo or something like application for the person to be able to deploy something like that. That's basically my question.
Okay. So first off, when we say deploying an application, we are not saying you are the one that built it. So the software engineer has already built it. Yours is just to deploy it. So for practicing, you can use GitHub. There are so many people's projects that are public. And just get it. Maybe a Python project, a PHP project, a Node.js project. Just choose a backend language. Look for something that was built with it, and then try to deploy it to a server. And that deploying means you have to learn. So I can't talk about how you're going to deploy it here because it's quite lengthy and there are different ways to deploy an application. So it's now to look at how you deploy the application. By deploying means getting it from your laptop, wherever that code was stored, to the server. Yeah. So like I said, you don't necessarily have to code. You don't necessarily have to code. You just need to provide sets of instructions, which you are going to understand when you check that deployment part of things. Yeah. All right. So Victoria, thank you too for this session. It was really insightful. I'm glad. Sorry also for the technical glitches along the way. And I also feel that we would have had more people join us because we had lots of people that applied, over 48 applications for this session. And I'm guessing it's the limit that must have bounced some people out. So they're not able to really join and participate. But I'll make sure to make this recording available. So after the session, once it's done recording, we'll make it available so that we can watch a recap of everything. Yeah. So any final words? God's power, Theophilus, Lolo Noel. Lolo Noel, we didn't hear your voice today. Paul and Rashid, is there any closing remarks you'd like to give? So we'll round up this session. Nothing from me.
Hello.
Okay. Hello.
Yes, so I wanted to ask one or two questions, and then so let's say one wants to learn DevOps with you. What you did here is more like introducing us to it and all of that. And let's say one wants to follow the roadmap and learn with you. Okay, when you mentioned something that had to do with creating a group the other time, and the question is, when you create a group, are you going to add all of us to the group? That's one. Then secondly, in the roadmap, is there going to be like it's an open source learning option, or we're going to have to pay some fees to learn with you? You cover the curriculum and all of that, and then we pay to learn, from basic to job ready and all of that.
Okay. All right. So first off, the group thing, I was talking about the upcoming 20 days challenge that we'll start putting our word for next week. So the group I was talking about was for that. Although we have a community, a Slack community, so yeah, we can also join that. Though we are moving away from Slack, so but we have a community where things like that, information like that will be dropped. So that can also be like some sort of group. Um, what else did you ask about? Okay, yeah, about the roadmap thing. I said, yeah, there'll be a roadmap that will provide. But as regard training, so it's like the training is not. It's going to be under Code Vixens. So Code Vixens is the educational organization that is going to provide the training. I will be one of the instructors. Yeah, so Code Vixens is the one that provides the training. Our training programs are like affordable. Um, let me share this so that you see on our website. I'm going to just share our previous work ready program, for example, so that you see our pricing plans. It was ridiculously cheap. Wow. I think we're going to be increasing the price because it's too cheap. Anyhow, we have our work ready program, and we had that early this year, and this is how much the mastery tier, 12 weeks, that was 3 months, 40,000 there. Very, very affordable. We have our academy programs as well. So the academy program we did the last time was very cheap. Too cheap. I'm even embarrassed to see it's also cheap. But that's not the amount I'm going to be charging now, but it's not going to be like exorbitant anyways. But yeah, the programs are not free. We have some free programs. Our free programs include portfolio building challenges. So the portfolio building challenges, like the one that is coming up that I said we'll put our word for next week, that one is free. Sessions like this, free. But we're going to be having workshops where we're going to be bringing instructors to teach people. They won't be free. So you'd have to pay, but not to me, to Code Vixens. Yeah, hope that answers your questions. All right then. So I think this is where. Okay, you want to say something, Theophilus?
Yes, you asked if it answers my question. I think that's a yes.
Okay, all right then. So this is the point where we are going to call it a day. Thank you all so very much for taking time out of a busy schedule. I know today is 1st of October, and in Nigeria, even though it's Independence Day, it can be a busy day for some people, having to do things, some of us. So thank you for taking out the time for joining this, and thank you for picking a thing or two from the session. Thank you all so very much. And let's enjoy the rest of our day and the rest of our week. And we'll keep in touch. Yeah, definitely keep in touch. All right, then. So thank you all.